Hi guys, I'm Lexi, I love books, and today I'm going to be showing you my haul of books that I got at my local library's book sale. I'm fine, everything's fine. Let's just pretend that never happened. My mom and I went last weekend to our library's book sale, and all in all we got 18 books. I got 10 and she got 8, and each one of them was $1, so 18 books for $18. That's a pretty good deal. I am really excited about a lot of these books I got. Most of them I knew about before, but a few of them caught my eye and I just happened to buy because the cover looked good or the story sounded interesting. So I'm going to show those to you right now. I know I literally just said I was excited about all the books that I picked up, but honestly I really don't know why I picked this one up. It's Chosen at Nightfall by C.C. Hunter. I think it's the 5th book and the finale to the Shadow Falls series that I've talked about before that I hate so much. I just saw this, it caught my eye, and I actually do really like the cover of this. That girl looks really weird. I don't know, I saw this and I was like, I'll just complete the series. I'm not gonna read it. I mean, I don't feel bad about it because it was $1, so it's not like I wasted money on it or anything, but I really don't know why I got it. I guess just to complete the series on my shelf. I don't even know if I'm going to keep them. I've talked about the Shadow Falls series a lot on this channel, but I don't really think I've talked about what it's about. It follows this girl named Kaylee Galen or Guylan? Yeah, Kaylee Galen, and she goes to Shadow Falls camp. It's a summer camp, but then it gets turned into a school. Conveniently, the first summer she goes there, they're like, oh, we're gonna be a school now. Cool. And it's a camp or school, I guess, for supernatural teenagers. There's like vampires, there's fae people, there's werewolves, you know, the whole shebang. And it's basically her figuring out her identity because she doesn't really fit into any of these categories, or she kind of falls into all of them. So there's a lot of stuff going on. The writing is really bad though. There are so many grammatical and like spelling mistakes, and it's just really annoying. There's a love triangle, of course there's a love triangle, and it's really bad and both the guys are like really shitty. So yeah, and I really hate Kylie too, like a lot, so that's basically what it's about. And of course there's like the bad vampires that are trying to kill everyone too. The next book that I got is The Rosie Project by, oh god, I'm gonna totally butcher this name, Garame Simsayan? Simsayan? I really should have looked up the pronunciation. I am really bad with names. But this book follows Don Tillman, who is a genetics professor, and basically he wants to find himself a wife. So he comes up with the Wife Project, which is basically like a 60, I think, questionnaire to kind of filter out all the people he doesn't want with like personality traits he doesn't like. This girl Rosie comes along and she fails the questionnaire, but she really needs help finding her biological father. And as they're kind of going through the process of finding Rosie's father, Don falls in love with her and realizes that science and genetics and stuff cannot predict love. And yeah, it's just a cute little story like that. There's a couple of romances in here, and I realize I've said that I don't like romances, but this one's actually pretty unique and I want to see where it goes. So I picked it up. The next book that I got is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I actually didn't realize until I came home and was going through the books that this is actually an arc of the novel, so this isn't like the finished edition. But this is a psychological thriller, I believe. I don't really know much about it. All I know is that there was a lot of hype on BookTube around it, and people said it was crazy. I also think it's either being written into a movie or a TV show by the same author, because he's also a playwright. Because it's an arc, there's a bunch of quotes on the back about it, but there's no like synopsis of it. but I looked it up on Goodreads, and basically this book follows a man named Jason Dessen who is abducted and then loses consciousness and wakes up in a hospital in a new life, in a new world. He has no idea who he's supposed to be. He doesn't know anyone, and he's just trying to figure out how he ended up there and how to get back. So it sounds really, really interesting. I've heard that it like really messes with your mind. So I'm actually really excited to get into this one. And it's really cool that it's an arc. The next book I got is The Martian by Andy Weir, and I'm pretty sure all of you guys have heard of the movie The Martian. It is about this man named Mark Watney who gets left behind on Mars in the middle of a dust storm, I believe, a dust or sandstorm, and his crew has to leave, and they assume that he died because he didn't make it back to the ship, and they leave him, and essentially he has to figure out how to survive all by himself on Mars for years without any communication with Earth whatsoever, and no one even knowing that he's still alive on Mars. And I never actually saw the movie. I don't see a lot of movies, but the idea of the movie, and obviously it's based off of the book, is just like so interesting to me. I really like kind of like sci-fi, futuristic kind of things, and this seems right up my alley, and it sounds so cool, but it also sounds like it's going to be really heartbreaking and very like messing with your head as well. I mean, he's going to be alone on Mars for years. Also, this isn't like perfect condition. All the other books are like kind of tattered up a little bit, but this one is like completely new and perfect, and it feels really nice. I also picked up Red Rising by Pierce Brown, and I really don't know much about this at all. I do remember hearing about it. I don't know if it was on BookTube, but I've heard about this series before, and this is the first book. And all I know about it is the short little blurb in the back that reads, "His wife taken, his people enslaved. Driven by a longing for justice and the memory of lost love, Darrow will stop at nothing to bring down his enemies, even if he must become one of them to do so. For the first time, Red will rise." I have no idea what that means, and I want to keep it that way. I'm very excited about going into this book with like no expectations, not knowing what's going to happen or anything. So if you want to know what it's about, you can look it up on Goodreads yourself. And my dad decides to go shovel the snow right now while I'm filming. This next book I am so excited about. I saw this on the floor. There was some books on the floor, and it immediately caught my eye. This cover is so beautiful. It's gorgeous, it's perfect, and it is so small. I have never heard of this book, but it is apparently a New York Times bestseller, and it is called Slade House by David Mitchell. His name is right here. I was looking for that for a while. Slade House by David Mitchell. And the cover is just so beautiful and gorgeous. Basically, it is about this house called the Slade House in New York that every 9 years, I believe, the people living inside the Slade House reach out and bring another person in. They lure you in, they call you by your name, they make you feel very welcome. It says on the back that at first you won't want to leave, but later you'll find out that you can't. So everyone that goes in there is stuck in there, and it follows, I think, five or so different perspectives of people inside the Slade House, and it just sounds so interesting. And just flipping through it, like, I'm really excited. I'm really excited about this book. I know it's going to be a short, probably quick read, but the story is probably going to be much, much bigger than it seems, and it's probably going to stick with me for a while is what I'm thinking. And I'm just really happy that I saw this. This next book is also a really, really short one, and it is Every Heart a Doorway by Seanan McGuire. I've seen this book a ton on BookTube, especially A Clockwork Reader. It has been on a lot of her TBRs, and I think she's read it by now, but so many people said they really, really, really loved it. And this is like just over 100 pages. It's almost 200 pages. It is very, very short, but it is an adult fantasy series, I believe, and it's basically about a world just like ours that kids go missing in a lot, and these kids disappear through doorways that lead them into different fantasy worlds, and usually the kids always want to go back to them, but they hide dark secrets. I believe I think that's how it works. There is a woman named Eleanor West, and she has a home for children who have fallen into these doors and different fantasy worlds, and she's basically protecting them against the evil powers within, I believe. I don't really know what those evil powers are, but it seems like there's a very dark and sinister reason to all of these different doors and fantasy worlds behind them, and I'm really excited to read this one as well. This next book, just like The Slade House, caught me just by the cover, and that is Near Enemy by Adam Sternberg. And this is a futuristic dystopian world where New York has basically been blown up by a bomb and it's just totally wiped out, and there is, I believe it is like a VR experience. I think it's just like a VR. Basically it's described as like the only escape. It's like a virtual safe haven, which makes me think it's VR, only for the richest people in the city, and those richest people are able to live happy lives. I'm not too sure if they're exactly happy lives, but this book follows a hitman named Spademan, and somehow he comes across the information that another terrorist attack is going to take place in New York, and I'm not sure if he's trying to stop it or figure out why it's going to happen, but he kind of starts to uncover really like dark things. And it just follows him and what he does with it, and the book describes him as a shady anti-hero. Now this next book is my other romance that I got at this library book sale, and it is called The Last Boy and Girl in the World by Soban Vivian. Again, this caught me by the cover. Now obviously this is going to be a love story, but it's kind of an interesting one, and it kind of reminds me of a book I read in middle school called Dark Life, where people were living underwater. I believe that's what it's called. Don't quote me on that though. And the town that this boy and girl are living in is going to be flooded because of rising sea levels, and they all have to evacuate. And while all the parents are packing up and everything, Kaylee and her friends are trying to have the best time ever right before they leave. They are having parties and canoe racing in the streets and just having a really good time, and Kaylee decides that she's going to go after the boy that she has always loved. It doesn't name the boy that she's always loved, but apparently, I guess it's reciprocated, because in the synopsis it says that it's her first love story, but she's leaving and they might never see each other again. So there's kind of this weird twist on it, you know. It's kind of like Keely has nothing to lose and she's just gonna try for the heck of it and see what happens. And I mean, if they do end up liking each other, what's gonna happen then? I don't know, I really like the idea that this town is flooding from global warming, and that's just really interesting to me, so that's the reason I picked it up, because of the really pretty cover and because of the sea level rise idea. And now for the final book that I picked up at my library's book sale. It sounds like I'm saying library, but I swear I'm saying library. I just don't enunciate any of my words. Right Behind You by Lisa Gardner is a thriller by Lisa Gardner that follows Charla and her brother Telly, who kills their father when Charla is very young in order to protect them. I believe he's an alcoholic father, and Telly kills their father. And this book takes place 8 years later when Charla is about to be adopted by an FBI agent and their partner, so I don't know if it's a same-sex couple or not, it just says and partner. But basically Charla is about to be adopted by this couple when all of a sudden there is a double murder at the local gas station, and her adoptive parents-to-be rush to the scene and they realize that the murderer might be Telly, Charla's brother. So they are trying to figure out who's done this, what's going on, and all the while Charla, 13 years old now, is trying to figure out if her brother is a hero for saving her from her alcoholic abusive father, or a villain who is going around and killing possibly innocent people. And that's really all I know about this book, and it sounds really interesting. And that is it. Those are all the 10 books that I got from my library's book sale. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and you can subscribe right over here. I make videos every single Friday, and you can click here to see my last video. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next Friday.